Okay, we are now recording. Hello, my name is Chris Haley, and I'm a commissioner on the Maryland Lynching Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I am today representing Commissioner David Armenti as chair of the research committee. And so with that, let me see if I can add
Excuse
some.
me.
Yes, go ahead.
Are you recording it?
I am recording it.
Okay.
Yes, I'm recording it. I think I need, okay, I'm ready. One person. All right. And so we are now calling this meeting to order as of 11:46 a.m., August 14th, 2023. Welcome all. And with this, we want to begin with taking the roll call. So, Joy, if you could please do us the honors.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. So I know Commissioner Menti said he's not going to be here, so he's out. I'm absent already.
Thank you.
Commissioner Iris Burns. Commissioner Simon Barrow Williams. I thought I saw her earlier.
Which one?
Barrow Williams, Simon Barrow Williams.
She is, Simone was on here. Commissioner Barrett was on
Yeah, I
here.
know I saw her earlier.
Yeah, she's here. Well, she said she was stepping to her car. She's still shown as being here.
Okay. Commissioner Query. Is he gone? Or he's still coming back?
He's here, but he's on a plane, so he might just be listening.
Okay. Commissioner Davidson?
Here.
Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Commissioner Martinez? Okay, I'm just going to skip some people I know I haven't seen. Commissioner David Fakunle, no, he's not here. Commissioner Ellis.
Me? Was that me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Commissioner Ellis.
Here. Sorry, here.
Commissioner Hall.
Here.
Commissioner Eels. Commissioner Mobley. Commissioner Snowden. Commissioner Stevenson. I saw him earlier.
I think he's here.
Yeah. Okay. Commissioner Schwartz.
Here.
Commissioner Baker.
Here.
Right.
Okay. I think I just saw a message from. Okay, so the chair will join as soon as he is able. All right.
Right. Okay. Mr. Sike. Sophia Sike. Ms. Ali. And Ms. McFarlane.
Here.
Thank you, everybody. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So did that give us a quorum? Was that 9 or more?
It was 9 before, but since Commissioner Query stepped out.
Okay.
So
All right.
now is 8.
Now it's 8. Okay. Well, hopefully in a few moments, other people. Right. That's what I think it is too. Well, so hopefully we'll have some of the other commissioners who have at least told me that they would be here today will join us shortly. So we will have a quorum so that if we need any votes to be taken, we can proceed with that. So with that, I'm going to go into the agenda and ask those who are present, those commissioners present, if you've had an opportunity to review the minutes, which were sent earlier. I certainly think Sunday, they were sent by Commissioner Fakunle. If you all have had a chance to review those. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I have.
All right, great. Now I'm trying to remember, do we need to have a quorum in order to accept the minutes? I would think that we don't need a quorum to accept the minutes.
You do need a quorum to accept the minutes.
Then again, I could be wrong that we.
According to Robert's rules, you need a quorum.
Oh, even to accept the minutes. Okay, but let me look to see if anybody else has just joined us. So we're still at 8, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like we're still at 8. Okay, well, we will hold on the minutes. We have at least touched upon it so that when someone else comes in, if anyone else comes in, we can ask them, and then we'll be at 9, and we can accept the minutes if anyone is fine with accepting the minutes as they are thus written. So next on the agenda is, I think it might be a soul check. I'm having to open up multiple windows. So. Okay. All right.
Okay,
and
Commissioner
Anita
Curry is back. Oh, okay.
is okay. But does that give us 9 though, or does just put us still at 8? Okay, well, it looks like we don't have, at least officially, we don't have the 9 that we need to accept the minutes. So public comments, I don't know what, I will save that for Chair Fakunle to come in and just move now to also the public comments, the chair comments will also be saved until Chairman Fakunle arrives. But this is also a moment when we have our soul check. And for those of you who are not aware, the soul check is just to relay and relate to the current matters of the day or recent events that have happened, which have something to do with how we feel about our core mission of seeking equity and recognition for those who were historically mistreated violently through lynching and other matters of disenfranchisement and violence toward people of African descent. So if anybody wants to share what recent events have reminded them of or affected them or touched them in some way which reinforces perhaps what we're doing with this commission and or what we're looking to support and or oppose with legislation and or activities which are occurring in the state, in the specific entities or institutions that we represent, and or our cities, our counties, our communities, and or our nation and or the world. Please feel free to share that at this point. And if we want to keep decorum, we don't want to use any folding chairs. We want to just get the points out to check our souls at this moment. Anyone? Well, I will start off just by saying the events that I did see very quickly, as a matter of fact, in regards to the combustion that happened. I think it was in Alabama. Was it in Alabama where the individual was African-American individual was apparently asking boaters to move their boat from the dock because others were coming in and they needed to move in order for that ship to dock, which was the specific, that was the manner in which that business is set up. And that was the manner in which, such as in the city dock in Annapolis, you have to move in order for a boat to come in, even whether you're docked there or not. That's just what is expected. And the parties that owned the boat refused to do so. And then it became a physical altercation, which has gone viral to the point where many parodies have been made of the altercations where individuals have used the aforesaid folding chair, and or they've had moments where people are in training for swimming the Olympics to make sure that they can get across the pond in order to offer assistance to their brothers or sisters. So in my own view, I must say I was amazed by how violent and how communal it became, in the way that people were really joining in, and how active it became, and how much of an audience that was present, not so much specifically within the physical aspect of it, but an audience of people who were using their phones to document the event as it was going on, which also I thought was pretty amazing. And also the fact that when it came down to it, there was no gunfire that I have heard from any accounts, and no knives were used, nothing outside of the of chairs or things of that matter, which I think is quite frankly good, that this occasion, which could have been certainly elevated to the point where it would have been a bloody altercation between white people and black people, representing racism and representing violence, and representing the chasm between equity and between I guess one could say cultural bonds, which we're dealing with today, that this was like a schoolyard fight in a way, where you did not ever get to the point of people literally taking weapons outside of, one could say, the folding chair to actually kill another person. And I think that in and of itself is a positive, outside of the ugliness of this situation in and of itself. And I was talking to a cousin of mine about this the other day, and one of the reflections that she had, which I thought is actually it made me think, I think it's true. When I remember looking at this event as it unfolded and went on and on and on, one has to think that police would have been aware at some point. And I feel like there were even some police around it who allowed this to go on. Now, on the one hand, one could say, who are these law enforcement individuals who are allowing a fight to go on, which could have escalated to the point where people were injured, were killed, or what have you, to allow that to go on? And on the other hand, there's so many instances where we could think of today where perhaps policemen would have reacted to such a situation very differently, and they would have drawn their own weapons, and they would have themselves dictated a form of, or instituted a form of violence, which would have ended up with murder and with deaths of individuals of black or white. So that in and of itself kind of surprised me, because it did seem that this fight went on a very long time. And it's hard for me to imagine that no one had informed law enforcement, and no law enforcement individuals had arrived there until, I believe, the people were using articles to throw at each other, when the police finally took steps to end it specifically. So I feel like that's a positive, in the way that there was restraint that was shown by law enforcement within this ugliness that was going on. That's what I've got out of that.
Chris,
Yes.
thanks for that. I think when we take a look at what we're doing here with this commission, was also linked to some of the feelings that still exist today. You have an African-American man who's the co-captain of the boat, who's being attacked. of course, they said, it hasn't been determined that he was attacked because it's racial, but because those boat owners who refused to move their boat would have been jerks. But the whole idea of race folds in there when you see, especially when we think of non-judicial punishment, that these individuals were punishing this man who was doing his job, and others in a racialized situation came to his aid. And now it's being celebrated for the unity of that. But what that is a sign, it's a symbol, it's an indication of a deep wound, a wound that hasn't healed. And that wound is not just here, but throughout the United States. And so, to take a look at that, and that's the job of our commission then is much necessary, because these wounds need to be healed. We need to bring this stuff out and talk about it. Someone said that one of the attackers used the N-word. So, I mean, the racial animosity is still there. Our job then is to try to find some way to bring about reconciliation. And this is just a sign that it's much needed when you get all these viral videos of people holding chairs and, changing the songs and all that other stuff. So, yeah, I agree with you that I'm glad there was no violence, that the violence didn't become deadly. But it shows that we and commissions like ours and people throughout the United States have a lot of work to do. And I just want to take this time on this Soul Check, to thank you and Maryland State Archives for working with the students at Bowie State, because that's one way to gain reconciliation. For those who don't know, Commissioner Haley is working with the Du Bois Center for the Study of Black Experience at Bowie State University, helping our students, providing them with experience and a deeper knowledge of Black history. And so that works to, as you see with our students, to give them the historical foundation to actually fight racism and to try to be soldiers in the effort for reconciliation. So I thank you, and I thank Maryland State Archives for that effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Davis, and I commend Bowie State, and I commend the student that you sent to us, because Kyle Vermette was an excellent student, and even with the background, which quite literally surprised us, because as you know, his background is very much of a technical, one could say, high-level classified individual type of background, and yet he was able to use that to fortify our research for free and enslaved Blacks and mulattoes during the 18th century, so during the 1700s, and added roughly, I think it might be 600 more individuals who we did not know anything about, finding their runaway ads, finding domestic trafficking ads that mentioned individuals by name, by age, by representation, such as if they were tall, short, fair, dark. There's just so much more information that we had not uncovered within that century, which your effort and through this excellent collaboration of Kyle Vermette helped us put forth, which is now going to be a part of our database and available for the nation. And so I thank you for that opportunity, and your professor who put that forth. So thank you very much. And hopefully we can continue that in the future.
I hope so. And we've been doing some work also with Commissioner Davis and Prince George's County. So the efforts that you all are putting forth really is going to, not just what the commission does, but educating populace. That's gonna go a long way, so that we can avoid some of the stuff that we see happening.
Right. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Is still Soul Check. And I see, Joy, we want to note that Commissioner Snowden has joined us. We're in Soul Check time.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay, if Commissioner Snowden, if you wanted to share anything that recent events have touched you about. We were just talking about the altercation at the dock. I think there is a quorum now, Kristen. Well, I guess we could count again. Joy, would you please count again? I'm sorry. Because then we can vote on the minutes. We have a quorum now. Okay, well, let me just pause for a moment. and ask again, has everyone who's here, who's a commissioner, been able to review the minutes? And if so, and you don't feel that there are any amendments which need to be made, do we have a motion to accept the minutes as they are?
So moved.
Any seconds?
Second.
Second.
Okay, the minutes will be approved as presented. Thank you very much.
You need the vote first.
Oh, okay, Joy, will you please take the vote? Official vote.
Official vote?
Yeah, the official vote for accepting the minutes.
Okay, if everybody's okay with the
I was gonna
minutes.
say, can we just maybe do a voice vote?
Yeah, that
Oh,
works.
you want me to call everybody?
That works?
No,
Okay.
usually it's just ayes and nays and whoever's
That's
louder.
fine. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, all those in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted, please say
Aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Having heard no nays, I put forth that the minutes are accepted as submitted. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, we are still in the midst of subject. Would anyone want to share anything now? Okay, no one has raised their hand that I can see. So I'm, okay, Carl has raised his hand. Okay.
What I was going to say is, David, our chair, is going to be the keynote speaker at the upcoming Maryland March on Washington. That's going to take place at Annapolis at noon at the city dock for those who would be interested in attending. And secondly, there was a front page news article that was in Baltimore Sun. I think it's worth commenting on. It involved a white state trooper who, during the George Floyd controversy, doctored a photograph, and really very despicable. Took 3 years for the investigation to be conducted, and at the end of the investigation, he was allowed to retire without any real consequences. And so it's raised a lot of questions as to why, under an attorney general who's African American, a governor who's African American, a state superintendent who's African American, someone could make such a racist comment as this corporal did, and really faced no real severe punishment. As you know, by being negotiated, that he could retire. It's really troublesome. The 3 years after George Floyd, and after all the work that went into dealing with these kinds of issues, that under the current situation, we'd have what we have. So I'm hoping that there will be a greater response from the community than what it has been.
Carl, would you be able to put a link to that article in the chat by any chance?
I can try. It was actually in the Baltimore Sun yesterday.
Oh,
It was
okay.
a full-page article, front-page article.
Okay. Well, if not that, then could you put a link, or when available, to the event that where the chair is going to be the keynote speaker?
Okay.
That'll be great to see, because now we at least have it in the minutes for the next meeting. All right, anyone else? Okay. Do we have any public comments? I'm sorry, I overlooked that when I went to the soul check. So right now is an opportunity for anyone from the public to share what thoughts they have, or events or things of that matter that may relate to the Maryland Lynching Truth and Reconciliation Commission and our goals and our mission. So opening it up to the public at this time. You can just unmute yourselves and speak or show your video as well if you'd like to.
I have something to say. Yes.
Okay. Hi, Amy.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thanks.
I want to recognize the commissioners who are regularly attending and present for the monthly meetings. I recognize that it takes a lot of time, that this is a volunteer position. Nobody's being financially compensated for it. As a member of the public and somebody who is also working in this space and place, it is frustrating that we have to wait 45 minutes into a meeting for quorum to be reached, for official business to be conducted. And there's a lot of important work happening here. And so I would just like to embrace the opportunity that the commissioners, present and not present, have to do this good work and make a lot of change and momentum in Maryland. It's the only state, as a reminder, only state in the country that is doing this work. And I would like to see a little bit more attention paid. And I know I'm speaking to the choir. This is not the group that needs to be hearing my comments, but it would be great as a member of the public to have quorum the beginning of the meeting and to get down and get to business, and so that we can see the progress that is that the commission has been tasked with. So thank you for giving the opportunity for me to speak.
Thank you very much, Amy, for sharing that. It is recorded. It will be shared within the minutes as well. And we welcome our Chairman Fakunle on to the call. Hello,
Yeah,
hello.
hello,
I'll let,
everybody.
I'll let you know where we are. Right now, we are at public comment. We did soul check. We've taken minutes. And so it's really for you for chair comments and public comments, and then we can move forward to committee reports which have not begun yet.
Got you. Okay, thank you. And my apologies. I had an unexpected situation that I had to deal with. So I thank you all for keeping things moving. And Amy, I'm with you. That has been a constant point of challenge and frustration for the commission for a while. We are exploring ways to address that because we don't think there's any ill intent from anybody on the commission not to be a part of this work. I think we all recognize how critical and how golden, and we said it from the beginning in 2019, of this opportunity that we have. There are very real circumstances that we are dealing with this commission, notably that this is volunteer based. The amount of work that we're doing, I'll say it on the record, there has to be some form of compensation, not necessarily money in our pocket, but some way for our time to be allocated specifically to this work where we don't have to compete with other interests. And I know every single commissioner on this commission has a competing interest every time they take a meeting, every time they're doing the work of this body. That is just a very real thing. So I guess these would be my comments. and I would say the big difference between where we were back in 2019 and the previous years and now is we feel like we have a receptive audience, particularly within state government, to help alleviate some of our challenges in that regard. And that is something that I can proudly say that we are working towards real solutions that will allow our commissioners to be fully present at the moment with this work when it comes to research, when it comes to connecting with local entities, when it comes to putting on our hearing sessions, all the totality that this work requires. And it only continues to grow as we've been a part of this. We're 4 years in, which I know it's amazing. And I think we should take some time to reflect on that as well. We're 4 years in, y'all. Like, we've been doing this for undergrad career. 4 years. We are seniors. All right. So it is only a reflection of, again, the immense work that is required to do this right. And I think that's always been my focus as chair, is to make sure we do this right, because we don't know when we're going to get another shot at this. We really, really don't. And for us, it can't just be about chronicling and preserving the legacy of racial terror lynchings in Maryland. It's about really exploring the damage that systemic racism has and continues to inflict on this state, not just for communities of color, but all communities, because yeah, nobody is left out when it comes to systemic racism. Everybody, even white folks, deal with the ramifications in one way or another. So it is a state issue that we take very seriously. And again, I'm more encouraged than frustrated. And hopefully my colleagues will feel that way as well. Yeah, we got our frustrations and they're real. And yet we remain encouraged and strengthened by what we have done and how much better it will get. So I will stop there with my comments. And again, thank you all for your patience and for your flexibility and for your grace. That's always needed, no matter what the situation calls for. So with that, Percy said we can move on to committee reports.
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So we will move on to committee reports. From my heads of committees, I know some are present, some are not. If there are any updates that you want to share, please do so at this time.
Okay, I'm representing the research committee this week as, or this commission meeting as Chair Armenti is enjoying a well-deserved vacation. So within the research committee, there was a meeting that was held a few weeks ago with Heritage Associates, which I will share with you the results of that third. But first, I want to publicly thank the John Mitchell Jr. program and George Mason University Vice Chair Chavis and all those involved with getting to us at the Maryland State Archives for roughly a month's time their John Mitchell Fellow, whose name was Andre Arcidiacono, who worked on the lynching cases of, as it turned out, Wright Smith and Garfield King, both in 1898. What we had him do was look through the governor's general file. Within the governor's general file, there's all sorts of correspondences that come from individuals within the years from 1890 to 1980, which are alphabetically placed by the name of either the person who sent or the person who received the document. So they're roughly chronological within this alphabet. So anyway, within this amount of time, and these are, to be kind, I could say there's hundreds of them, but really to be literal, it's probably more like thousands of letters or correspondences or bills or receipts or invoices that are included within these records. And so within those, Andre was able to find roughly 10 documents, which in and of itself sounds like small percentage-wise, but considering we had no idea that they were in there, it was such a joy and a revelation and a validation of research strategies that one person spending very concentrated time, because I'm telling you, these boxes are just full of papers, which are in order and which are segmented by their alphabet, which is as specific as could be DAR-BAX. I mean, that's what you're looking into, that he was able to find some documents, among which were letters from the Pinkerton Agency in 1898, which was researching one lynchings, quote unquote lynchings, and one actually mentioned Wright Smith as being one of the individuals that they were contacting the Secretary of State about, and they were mentioning a bill. So literally one bill was, I think the amount was for $519 and some change for research they had completed about lynchings. Another subsequent to that was, I think, $119 for lynchings. I think that was specifically was for Wright Smith. And so I just want to remind everybody that $519, that's $519 in 1898. So the equivalent of that today is like thousands and thousands of dollars. I think I calculated it to be roughly $20,000 is what that would incur. So again, that's something that the state paid the Pinkerton agencies, the Pinkerton Detective Agency, to conduct research to try to find out more information about the perpetrators of a lynching and all those matters behind it. We were not able to find the names of those individuals who they researched or who they contacted or who they interviewed. But this gives us the hope that there's more that we can look through, possibly with manpower, to actually sit through this process and hopefully find more with different years in which lynchings occur, because that was a process. We picked a year where a lynching occurred, and then we started Andre saying, look through this within first the names of the person who was lynched. So Wright Smith, so we looked under S's, and then the name of the governor, thinking that the governor might have been the person to receive correspondences, the Secretary of State, who might have been some other individual, and any other individuals who were mentioned in the articles that were widely circulated at that time, such as if a sheriff was mentioned, we mentioned the sheriff. If a community member was mentioned, if a mayor was mentioned, we looked under those names. So that's very encouraging to us. And again, we also looked he found something for Garfield King, who was later on in that year, which also implies that there could be other records we could find. One of these records was for the written reports on these individuals. Unfortunately, we haven't found those written reports, but we're very, very at least encouraged that it might be something we could find in the future. So thanks again to the John Mitchell program for affording us the time and paying for the internship of Andre Arcidiacono to do this. And I could send the spelling to Joy for the minutes to try to, because it's not even for me to spell, even it's not even to say, but not easy.
Right.
So that's one thing I wanted to share. Also, this Thursday, Hannah Lane, who is on the call today with our department, and also a member of our appraisal department, is going to visit the Howard County Historical Society and meet with Director Mark Stout to look through the records that they have on the lynchings of Nicholas Snowden and Jacob Henson. So we're going there in person, and Mark Stout has told me that he's going to have pulled for us all the records that they have. The boxes are, I think it's 2 boxes or so, that relate to those lynchings. So we'll be able to look at that in person, and based on our findings, we will move forward with a plan to get digital copies or what have you of those findings, and then incorporate that within our lynching study as well, and certainly add them onto the case studies. So that was very fortunate. And the meeting that I had with Heritage Associates, so that's Brett Tyler and Donna Holly, was answer to a request that they had about, to some degree, I might just say marching orders as to where do we go from here? What should we do? We're not really sure, because there's been, as we know, a pause, so to speak, in our moving forward with hearings. So what we discussed within this meeting was, where did they have the most research done so far? Where do they feel like they have the majority of findings which could help populate a hearing with speakers and or local representatives and or any presentations about those individuals who were lynched or suspected of being perpetrators, or government entities that were involved in either pursuing justice or the lack thereof. And so St. Mary's County, they felt they had the most in place, research for St. Mary's County. And second to that, Harford County. And next to that, we have Prince George's County, which I know is benefit, as we have, I think Reverend Tykert was on here for a moment, which would be very beneficial, because I know that, at least as I recall, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Reverend Tykert, that our Prince George's County Coalition mentioned a possibility of being able to or willing to do a hearing in the spring of 2024. So with these things in place, we have tentatively put in motion, or at least in our minds, that Heritage Associates should move forward with their research primarily on St. Mary's County, with the thought that St. Mary's County would be one of the first hearings that we do. And then next to that, Harford County, because that's the next, so that would be the next hearing that we do. And then Prince George's County, because that's another, I guess, crux of information that we have. And to start thinking in those terms, so that when we do get the new project manager in place, we can present to them this type of a tentative order in which to pursue things. And I also mentioned, I talked with Commissioner Davis actually earlier today about our plan to get with the logistics committee to start hammering out the what we should do, what we could do, going through the template of those previous hearings that we have already completed to see how we could put this in motion. So that's what we have looked at. And with that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Haley. Any updates from logistics, reconciliation, and justice? I did see Commissioner Creary's note who had to drop off the call, so no report from the reconciliation committee at this time. And also want to acknowledge what he put in the chat, which I don't want us to do, which is to blow this historical moment. So I recognize that we have our lulls, and as we said before, we've had our challenges, but one thing we will not do is blow this. We can't. We cannot blow this, and we won't. So I will say, based off of what Commissioner Haley mentioned, we have made a decision on the project manager position. We won't officially announce until T's are crossed, I's are dotted. But we have gone through all the candidates, and we have made a decision. We're very happy with it and excited to get that person on board once everything has been finalized. So that will be a major step in kickstarting our hearing sessions again, because as we know, our previous project manager, Stephanie Thompson, was elemental in helping make sure that ran as smoothly as possible. So we knew that we didn't want to proceed with the remaining hearing sessions until having that replacement in place. So now that we are on the way to doing that, we are very excited to start building up that schedule. Any other reports? We mentioned reconciliation and logistics. I think we're good. All right, moving on with our agenda. We are at new business, and really the new business was kind of what I just mentioned, that we have selected a new project manager. And again, once we are able to say their name, bring them into our existence, we'll do that. And again, we're just very happy and grateful to those who reached out for potential candidates. It was a challenge at first to find some suitable candidates. I think the big change was moving this to a full-time position. That helped to attract more people to the opportunity. And again, we had some good candidates to choose from, and we feel confident that we made the right choice. So more to come on who that new project manager is once we cross that bridge. So any other new business that commissioners would like to share? Okay. I know that we're kind of at we're at the end of summer. People are getting their last trips in, myself included. So recognizing that things will pick up as we transition into the fall within the next 30 days or so. And we'll be looking to, again, work on the schedule for hearing sessions. Ideally, we're able to get one done by the end of the year. If not, we'll certainly have some planned for early 2023. We do have some locations that are ready to go in terms of hosting a hearing session, and it comes down to just making sure that our research is as thorough as it can be prior to the hearing session. Certainly not necessarily complete, because we know this is an ongoing process, but making sure that we have done enough work to tell a full story when we do the hearing session. So again, as we transition to the last few months of the year, we'll hope to get a hearing session done, but if not, certainly early 2024, we will have several on the docket. Also want to remind particularly our commissioners about the cafe on the 17th. So that is this coming Thursday. Just want to make sure I get the World Cafe on Truth and Reconciliation Commissions. That registration link was sent out before. I certainly hope that we can have some representatives from the commission. I will do my best to join that as well, just to see what other similar bodies around the United States are doing in terms of their work of restorative justice and restorative practices. I am excited to see what we can learn and certainly what we can share about our story. I am certainly don't think we're the only one that's having the challenges that we have had. This is a lot of work. It's a lot of work that certainly requires a lot of effort, and being able to maintain and strengthen that effort is where we continue to strive, and where we continue to hopefully make improvements as we go along. And I'm very grateful to the members of the public for holding us accountable. So as much as it may suck to hear that, and I'll say I felt it a little bit, Amy, when you said that, but I'm like, it's true, right? It's true. And I know it comes from a place of knowing how important this is. And that is something that we will never lose. And as long as we have the public on our side, I feel confident that we'll get this done. You know, the way the sausage gets made is never pretty. But when this but when this comes out, I know that we will all be proud. Commissioners, staff, and members of the public will be proud of the work that is done, and hopefully it sets precedent. I think that's the other part that we don't want to lose sight of. Yes, we are the first and only in the country, so we have to set the precedent for how this is done. And no matter what, it's important for us to tell the whole story. People need to know how we got from point A to point B, no matter how many curves, how many stops, how many times we had to go backwards, whatever the case may be, but we will get to the point where we need to be. So accountability is a virtue, and it's one that we need to all uphold. So with that, I'm going to transition out of new business to any announcements. And I will just start with what was put in the chat about the commemoration of the March on Washington, Saturday, August 26th in Annapolis. And as was mentioned, I have 5 minutes to speak about the commission. I will make those 5 minutes count. So anyone who is able to attend either the recreation of the march or the event after the march, please come and show your support. That would be greatly appreciated. Any other announcements that should be shared? Commissioners, you can say them out loud, put them in the chat. Members of the public, if there's anything that you would like to announce, please feel free to put that in the chat, please.
David, can I
Yes.
interject? Yeah.
Yeah,
So I just wanted to remind everyone that the annual conference for the Maryland Lynching Memorial Project is going to be Saturday, October 14. Previously, we had announced that Clint Smith is going to be participating, so we're pretty excited about that. This week, we also learned that Dr. Yahura Williams, who was in that film Lynching Postcards, and he's with St. Thomas University, he's going to be joining us. And then also, I can confirm that we are going to be holding a fundraiser the following week with filmmaker Stanley Nelson, who has a new film out called Sound of the Police. So we're really excited about that. He's going to come down. We're going to screen it and have a question and answer thing. And that'll I think that's going to be on Friday, October 20th. But we're very excited about that. He's a MacArthur Fellow. He did films on Attica and Miles Davis. I mean, he's the real deal. And so we're pretty excited about that. And that'll be on October 20th.
Awesome. Awesome.
Stanley Nelson, Stanley Nelson
Yeah,
just did our two movies, the two MPT movies on Harriet Tubman and
Right.
and Frederick Douglass for
Exactly.
and it was screened at Bowie State University.
There we go.
There you go. Thank you, Will, for sharing that. And if you want to put any information in the chat, just so people can know where to go for more information, that would be great. Any other announcements? And Amy, thank you for your recommendation, a reflection paper, making me think about class that starts in a week. Thank you.
David, could you put the link up? Put the link up again
Gotcha.
for the conference on Thursday.
Yep. Let me do that right now. But yes, and actually, I want to acknowledge the recommendation that one of my friends, the former delegate Dan Moorheim, gave me way at the beginning of this about kind of chronicling this experience. So there's the link. Hopefully that is the registration link and not just a Zoom link for Thursday. But I would encourage us all, from taking your suggestion, Amy, to reflect on this whole experience. We all have our different points that we've been a part of this, and that's going to help us tell the full story. And I think that would be very valuable, not just the reports that we create, the recommendations. That is the Zoom link. Okay, I'll put the registration link. Give me a minute. But to, again, talk about what this experience has been like for us all, because we will all have our perspective, and they should be honored. Let me see if I can hurry up and pull up the registration link. So while I'm trying to find the registration link, any other announcements that people would like to share?
Hi, David. This is Maya. I don't have an announcement, but I just want to let you know that I was here. I came on late. I have an emergency at my museum. Thank
It's all
you.
good. All good. No, thank you, Commissioner Davis, for being here. Appreciate you. All right. And I will give me one more minute. I will get the registration link for you all. Hopefully it's still available. Okay, there we go. There it is. Okay. All right, here is the, there we go. There's the registration link. If you are able to attend, please do so. I know that they, let's see. So I'm not too sure, just to be full honesty and full transparency. I know that they certainly want representatives of the MLTRC there. I'm not sure what their policy is for members of the public. So I'll just say that now. Hopefully they wouldn't kick anybody out for being a part of it, but I think it's a valuable opportunity, not just for our commissioners, but for those who are part of this journey with us to learn. And anyone who is able to attend, please take notes. Any insight that you think is valuable to share with the commission, please do so. I truly see this as an opportunity, not just to share our story, but really to learn from other efforts that are happening to strengthen the work that we are doing. So I will just put that preface there. But hopefully, I do hope it is open for people to attend, because I think it's going to be a very valuable experience. So I'll just put that out there. Any final announcements before we move to adjourn? All right, seeing none and hearing none, we will move to adjourn this meeting. So again, I thank you all for your patience, again, for your flexibility, for your grace, and for your accountability. I don't want that to ever change. Please stick with us as we deal with the ebbs and flows of this important work. And if we should ever fall off, give us the business. You hearing that from me first. Give us the business and make sure we are always reminded about why we're doing this. We say we serve a greater purpose beyond any glory or adulation we might get with this. This is about the future. It is about honoring the past and recognizing the present so that we can change the future. So for all of you, I truly, truly appreciate you. I truly, truly am grateful and honor you for being a part of this. No matter what you do, your presence is enough. And anything that you bring beyond your presence is a blessing and greatly valued. So thank you all. And with that, we will move to adjourn. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. All right. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all again. And we will see you next month. We have a special guest for next month. I have that in the announcements when the agenda comes out, but I will say special guest. You ain't gonna want to miss this meeting. Commissioners who are not here, don't miss this meeting. Saturday is going to be a good one, and again, one that's going to, I think, be very good for us as a body. So thank you all again. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Get those last vacations in, and I'll see you when you see you. Take care.
Bye.